All right, so here in the weapons storage compartment, so that's where torpedoes would normally be stored. We also use this for, when we talked earlier, the 11 extra trainees or extra personnel we have on board also sleep in this compartment. Right now, we're lucky for those trainees that they have the whole space to them. So we're 11 people sleeping here at sea without the torpedoes. If we do more higher level operation or high intensity operation, we still have 11 people sleeping here, plus however torpedoes we bring on board. So it's normal for personnel training to go in the submarine, or dignitaries coming in the submarine, whoever, may it be the Prime Minister, the Chief of Defense Staff, if they come on board and they're not part of the crew, or media, when in the rare occasions we bring media at sea. People can sleep, if it's overnight, they sleep here, and it's possible that you're sleeping beside the torpedo. So that's a cool part of being in submarines as well. You can say potentially, hey, I went at sea on a submarine and I had the highest level of explosive in the Canadian arsenal right beside me, and those torpedoes are those. I'll just wait for them to be, because as I mentioned, we're going to see tomorrow, so they're doing all the tests right now.
You have trainees with you tomorrow?
Yes, we are.
48 crew and 11 trainees?
Correct. We always have 59. So that's a good segue there. We always force generate regardless of what the operation we're doing, because we need to get new submariners trained not only to operate this class, but to also operate the next class, as Canada is committed to purchasing up to 12 submarines. So we never go to sea with not all bunks occupied, in order to maximize that training. And that ties in as well as to why we invested in that for that 14 years of refit with HMCS Corner Brook, is to ensure that we maintain the Victoria class capability, not only to provide deterrence, provide surveillance on behalf of the Canadian government, but also to maintain proficiency and to prepare for the next class of submarines. So the more we focus on the Victoria class right now, the more submariners we have, the more prepared our team will be to adapt to whichever new class of submarine the government of Canada decides to procure. And it's open in open sources right now. The RFIs are in. We have a few nations bidding to provide us submarines, and we are waiting for the analysis to be completed. And all submariners are happy, looking forward, eager for the government of Canada to decide which submarine best serves our interests, and whichever that is, we will be ready to operate them. And that's integral to HMCS Corner Brook's mission at sea right now.
You know, depending on what Canadian you speak to, everyone has a different level of desire to have a full arsenal, a full fleet in play. Why do you feel passionate about having the renewed fleet kind of coming?
But the renewed fleet, if you have a new vehicle, if you have a new assets, you spend less time in the garage than it is for an aging platform or an aging car, for that matter. So with brand new submarines, they will be at sea more, bringing a higher level of capability in the Canadian arsenal, to the Canadian government. And it's fairly clear in the world right now that things are not the most stable, and it's important for Canada to be able to have the ability to project, to defend ourselves if need be. But more importantly, having submarine sends a clear message that we're not to be messed with, and that it would deter people to even commit anything against Canada. So just having submarine, it's not just to defend ourselves if we get attacked, but it's also to send a clear message that we are ready to defend ourselves, most likely preventing people to even think about attacking Canada.
Have you said anything about a price tag for the new submarines, or is that still?
That would have to be with ADM at different platform, different capabilities. Procurement in Canada includes the whole life of the platform, so all these things would need to be directed to Treasury Board. It's
Tell us where we are now.
Oh yes, so we are in the weapons storage compartment, where our 11 extra personnel on board sleep in like any type of operation. But the most important part, and what that, by the name of it, what that compartment was designed, is to store weapons, store torpedoes. And the Mark 48 torpedo, the torpedo that Canada has in its arsenal for submarines, is the length of those racks. So starting here all the way to the back of the room, that's a Mark 48 torpedo. And we embark them through a hydraulic system in the 6 tubes we see forward. We can carry a total of 18 if we have like max load. And these weapons are the most powerful, the most punch that we have in the Canadian arsenal. Like it's a lot of plastic explosive, super stable, good weapons, and that's the same type of weapon we have most of our allies employing. In order to launch those weapons, we load them in the tubes, and then what makes them so safe is that they cannot activate until a few criteria are met. And one of them is that it needs to be out of the tube, and it's in order to do that, but without having its own propulsion activated, is we push them out with water. And how that works is we have an air turbine pump down below that pushes high pressured air in an impeller that turns a pump, and in turn that pump pushes water in the tubes and then expels the torpedo, and then the torpedo goes on its merry way to do whatever we launched it for.
And would it be like kind of resting up here?
No, so the torpedo is embarked through here, and then they are resting on these racks here. So they take like, if I don't know if we have one that's fully. Yeah, the back ones on both sides are maybe for a shot. They don't have any curtains in it, and you can see like that's the full length of the torpedo. So we ram them in those tubes, and then when they're in there, the tubes are flooded, and then that's when we can push them through. And after that air has turned the pump pushed the water. We don't want to be detected. We don't eject the air to the surface, because then that would kind of defy the purpose of being covert in the submarine. We eject it right back into the submarine, and that's the white cloud I was showing earlier. Like it can be fairly impressive for people who are not expecting it.
Mm-hmm. How far can they travel, the torpedoes?
The torpedoes can go fairly far, further than the eye can see.
Commander, talk to us about the complexity of these submarines. You know, the fact that just looking around this visual of you, there's so much wiring, there's so much piping, so many valves. Like, I mean, I think it really does speak to how complex these vessels are. Yes,
every space is at a premium. There's tons of hydraulic systems, high pressure air system, low pressure air system, water system. As we mentioned, it's like the drawings especially for damage control are exorbitant, and that's why submariners all train like from the basics to know where the bulk of the main valves, the most important one, like from the sailor third class all the way to the ship's commanding officer. Like everybody needs to know where like the most important valves are, and that's why the training takes so long, and that's why we never go to sea without a bunk being occupied. If we have a spare bed for somebody to come to sea, one of the submarine trainees will go to sea, because we need to keep generating our sailors, and it takes a while to know all the system in order to be a safe submariner. And conversely, because people put so much time and effort in becoming submariner, as long as you have dolphins, when you're qualified, it doesn't matter if you're the commanding officer or the most junior S3, people know each other, and if something is wrong or feels wrong to anybody, there's no harm feeling, no issues for even the most junior submariner to go see the commanding officer and say, in passing in the flats, to say, "Sir, ma'am, I've seen there's an issue here. Is that normal?" Or I heard the pipe or the general announcement you made, and I did not understand that. Could you explain this? And that's very important, that regardless of where you're from, where you went to school, where you grew up, as long as you have dolphins on, you're part of the family, and that's how we all operate in the submarine.
Fantastic. And the other thing that you had mentioned to me was that that this is the largest hybrid vehicle in Canada.
Correct. So we're diesel electric. So we have two V16 generators back aft that charge our battery, and then our battery turns our direct current motor. So making us, in fact, the biggest hybrid in the country. I would hazard to guess that none of the cars or even heavy hauler truck we see on the road is 2,400 tons heavy. So I would like to compete with anybody to tell me if they have a bigger hybrid than the one I'm driving.
Awesome. Thanks, Commander. Thank you. So, XO, describe to us where we are here on board HMCS Corner Brook.
So right now we are in the engine room, and just behind us is the motor room. So this space, as you can see, has a lot of machinery in it, so-called the engine room. So our big players here are our diesel generators, which we use to charge our batteries, because we are a diesel electric submarine, as well as if you look anywhere else in the space, wherever there is space, there is equipment. So whether that's from pumps to, like, again, the diesel generators. And as you can see, there are tons of systems running throughout the whole space. And through our training, we have to know everything that's in here, how to operate it, and if there is any emergencies, how we can counteract that.
So Dale, here we are in the engine room of HMCS Corner Brook. This is the space that I believe you work in primarily.
One of them, yeah.
One of them,
Yeah.
one of them. So if you don't mind, kind of describe where we are and why submarines are so complex. I think I have an idea, but you're the expert.
Sure, yeah. So like the space's name entails, you're sitting in the engine room. Outboard of me on both sides are a 16-cylinder Paxman Valenta diesel engine, which is coupled to a generator and then to a rectifier, which takes the current that a generator would make, alternating current, turns it into direct current to charge our battery system. They're effectively just big train engines that charge our batteries, and that's their only primary function, is simply just to charge the batteries. And then, yeah, from there, we do the battery game. So why batteries? Well, batteries don't make noise. They're super quiet. They can store a lot of energy in a lead-acid battery, and that can keep us doing what our primary job is, which is being stealthy under the ocean. The engine room is unique because it's part of one of two spaces aft of 56 bulkhead, which is just ahead of you. And the other space is the motor room, where you can see actually my team right now going over some maintenance documents.
And how do you distinguish that? So this is the engine room and the motor room. What do the two mean?
So the engine room again is the engines, and the motor room houses the main motor, which is the propulsion system of the submarine. So it's one large direct current motor with two armatures, which is just a bunch of wires effectively around one single shaft. Okay. And that shaft is what exits the submarine to provide us our propulsion. Gotcha. And the distinction of where those two spaces start and stop, if you can see there's a door here, that's called the acoustic bulkhead. Its function is to drown out the sound of these engines when they're running, so we can protect our ears in the motor room and cause a bit of an environmental difference in terms of the heat produced from engines. Yeah.
Right. So when the engines are on, and I'm just going to pan down because I think that's one of them, right? So that is the port diesel generator. Okay. And so when they're running, are many people in this space?
No. So at sea, there's two engineering watchkeepers on watch back aft. We're both from the MARTEC trade. We both have our engineering watchkeeper certification, and we are always of both flavors of MARTEC. So there's one mechanical and one electrical. Both of us have the same qualifications as well, for the most part, for the operation of this stuff. We're just specialized more on our maintenance side, where the mechanic is going to have far greater diesel knowledge than I will as an electrician, or vice versa. The main motor then becomes my specialty, and the two of us complement back aft. So when the engines are running, one of us is out here doing rounds. We might have a trainee with us as we're teaching and instructing them how to do the engines, or someone could be traversing through the bulkhead to come back aft. But at sea, for the most part, there's the two of us on watch, and we're responsible for all the machinery aft 56 bulkhead in the submarine.
Fantastic. Dale, thank you so much for explaining this space. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.